Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I've got yet another video for you guys. Yes, you can see that my hair is exactly the same because guess what? We bulk film. That's what we do around here. So the last couple of videos that you guys have seen, I filmed it all in one day. It is currently, what time is it in the evening? It is currently 10 minutes past 10. And yes, I'm filming yet another video for you beautiful people. Because right now, when you guys are probably seeing this, I'm probably stuck in the middle of exams or like literally about to head on to exams, which sucks. So I'm probably stressed out. So I ain't even gonna have time to be filming videos and whatnot. But anywho, before I go on, I just want to say like shout out to K1, where I don't know if they're like K1 because they actually, oh, let me see if I can show you. Right, K1 where, can you guys see it? Yes. K1 wear, really dope. My top says I put the K in Kitoko. Kitoko basically is in Lingala, which is one of the languages spoken in the beautiful land, the motherland, the kingdom of Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo. And Kitoko means beautiful. So it's kind of like saying I put the B in beautiful, but instead in my language, I put the K in Kitoko. If you want to grab one, I'm going to leave the link to the guy who basically sells it, his Instagram. Anywho, that's not the point of this story. Welcome back to my channel, beautiful people. Today we are talking all about studying English literature at the University of Cambridge and revision tips. Now, one thing that I do want to say is that I already have a video where I shared some revision tips. I made that video probably about a year and a bit ago, and a lot of the things that I said in that video are still very, very much relevant. A lot of the ways that I revised then are basically going to be repeated in this video as well. So apologies if you've already watched that, but what I want to do is go into greater detail with everything. So we have no time to waste. Let's get into it. So first and foremost, studying English literature at the University of Cambridge. So I'm here at the University of Cambridge. I'm studying a BA in English literature. So it's kind of like English literature and its context. And I've spoken a bit about studying English in previous videos, like when I did a Cambridge update video. I basically spoke a lot about it, and one of the things I spoke a lot about was finding it quite difficult in the sense of what we were reading, the context of what we were reading. So it was very, it still is till this day, but now I've blackified my curriculum basically. Obviously, I'm a black woman, and in my head, when I first thought of University of Cambridge, I thought obviously they are the best of the best. They are the creme de la creme, you know, the creme de la creme, vraiment, the you know, the top of the range. So that means that their education is going to be top of the range. It's going to be diverse. It's going to be inclusive. It's going to be the best. That's what I thought. And then I came and I was not necessarily shocked because obviously I did research beforehand. I made sure to look at the degree, look at what I'd be studying in first year, what I'd be studying in second year, and obviously what it'd be like in third year. And first year when I got here, literally we just read, everything was basically just white male, majority of our reading, white male, dead. That's literally the majority of the reading. So very traditional and very basically what you would expect from somebody like 100 years ago. Just all the, basically in terms of the curriculum style and all that kind of stuff, the very stereotypical things that you would think. That was my degree, and I was quite frustrated and I was quite upset. Not even because, I wouldn't even say upset, because I still enjoy reading those things. It's not like I don't enjoy reading it, but by the time I got to second year, that is when it kind of took a toll on me. And I was just kind of like, I'm tired of reading the same damn thing, the same damn things that I have no connection to, that I don't feel any connection with it because I can't relate. I cannot relate to a middle class white male talking about middle class white male things. I can't do it. I just can't. So for me, it was quite frustrating in that sense. But the only thing that kind of kept me going is, okay, two things. One, I kind of knew, I was like, Nissy, you knew what the curriculum was going to be like before you came here. So you can't really complain about something when you knew and you still applied and you still, when you got accepted your space. So that was number one. And number two, I kind of just kept focused in my mind that by third year, because third year is the year where you can basically choose pretty much whatever you want to do. You only have to do two compulsory papers, one of which I'm going to explain in a second, but one particular compulsory paper. And even that, like, I found ways of implementing like black writers and stuff into it. So really and truly, like I said, I've blackified my curriculum. Now, in terms of what you study in, let's say, like first year. So first year, you study a wide range of texts. You study everything from, of course, Shakespeare. You go from the Shakespeares, which I love, by the way, and I still love and I loved doing. It was one of the highlights of studying at Cambridge. So you do Shakespeare. You also study kind of like early text. So anything from about, I think it was like 1300s to maybe like the 1800s. Then obviously you do a bit of contemporary as well, so anything after 1800. You also do like, as you go along, I can't really remember, you can see that my memory is so bad, but I don't know if it was first year or second year, but then you move on into things like the Renaissance and all that kind of stuff. So you do a wide range, but a wide range in a very English, white, British, prescribed box. That's the wide range. And of course, you are never told that you can't read things outside of that curriculum. You can't read things outside of that box, but it's very difficult because obviously you have to go into, let's say, supervisions, and you have to sit there with a supervision partner who probably has no idea what you're talking about. So I could have chosen to do a lot of texts for myself, and I could have chosen to do things written by black authors, by Asian authors, by all these different people, but I almost felt as though I couldn't do it because, number one, if I go to a supervision, everybody else would have read the same text, and then there would just be me talking about a completely different text that I probably wouldn't even be able to use in my exam. So what on earth is the point? And when you're in an environment whereby the pace of everything you're doing is so fast, I just about was able, especially in first and second year, I was just about able to do the bare minimum, let alone doing the bare minimum and then now going and adding texts by all these different authors. So really and truly, it was a bit of a lose-lose situation for me. I wasn't really winning anywhere. By second year, it just got really boring. It got really frustrating. So then fast forward to third year, I'm not really explaining this very well because I haven't explained supervisions. I haven't explained, all right, let's rewind, right? I'm so sorry about this. Every week you would be expected, so first year we were expected to write one essay a week, which could be anything between about 1,500 to 2,000 words, depending on your supervisor. We were expected to obviously go to supervisions, which meant that you might have some supervisions, which means like a 1-on-1 or 2-on-1. So it would be normally about 2 students and 1 supervisor, and you'd basically sit in a room and go over your essays that you would have obviously sent to them beforehand, or over the text that you've read over that week. Every single week you study a new text. So I remember the first ever week I got here, Jesus, Lord have mercy, we studied this big fat book. I hate it so much. George Eliot Middlemarch. It's just the worst book that ever existed in humanity. It's so boring, it's so rubbish. I don't know why they made us read it, but I guess it's British in it, or English, or whatever. It's white. So I couldn't stand it at all. But yeah, that was the first week. It was, I think 500 pages, maybe even more. I'm not 100% sure, but every single week it's like that. So obviously not the length of the text, but you will get a different text that you have to focus on, and you have to write an essay on it. You have to hand in that essay, send in that essay by a certain time, and then obviously your supervisor marks it. Then you come in for a supervision, and you and your partner have to basically exchange ideas, have conversations. One thing that I will say, absolutely love supervisions. Cambridge, A1. Supervisions are great because they really test your knowledge. You can't hide. You can't just pretend to do the work and then kind of like be in a seminar setting and kind of just think, oh, I don't really have to say anything. No, you literally have to make sure you do the work, which at the time is difficult, but looking back now, I'm like, that was great. It's fantastic. You know, you actually get on with the work. You actually push yourself. And yeah, so that was basically the gist of first year. Then by second year, obviously the workload increased, and here's us crying because we got 1 essay a week. Oh my gosh, obviously still a lot of people see that as like, no way. But so then in the term, so that was, by the way, 1 essay a week for 1 module. And normally across the year, so we have 3 terms in a year, and across the year, you will be doing 2 modules per term. So for example, in first term, which is named Michaelmas term, you could be doing, let's say, Shakespeare and practical criticism. Practical criticism is a paper that goes throughout your entire time here at Cambridge studying English literature. Practical criticism is basically this theory, this thing that was made up by a guy, I think in 1939, am I wrong? I'll put it on the screen if I'm wrong, but 19 something, by the name of I.A. Richards, and he basically said that the best way to test someone's knowledge in terms of literature is by giving them something just plain without any kind of like revision or any like knowledge from before, just giving them something and then making them write. And so that's what basically we have to do. We do practical criticism essays as well alongside. So actually I think we were doing 2 essays a week, or maybe just under that. So we might have done maybe 4 practical criticism essays. So it might have been like 1 week I'll be doing 1 essay, then obviously every other week I'll be doing 2 essays. But practical criticism is pretty like, it's not all that hard. Like it's hard, like okay. I found practical criticism quite difficult because I just don't seem to be able to get it, because there's no structure, there's no kind of right way or wrong way. It just depends on yourself, it depends on your supervisor. It's quite difficult in that sense. But in terms of, for example, context is not difficult, because really and truly you don't know what could come up in that exam. You could literally get a poem from Jamaica in 1929 and you just have to write about it, and it might say, you know, examine the rhyme in this poetry or whatever, and you just have to write about it. So that's one thing that you do throughout your entire 3 years, but then you always do that alongside something else. So let's say Shakespeare or tragedy or whatever it is. Come now to second year. Second year, obviously the workload increased a bit more, so we pretty much got like 2 essays a week. You know, things were very, very intense. I had my times when I cried, I had my moments where I was like, I can't do this, but it happened, I did it, I'm here. And yeah, pretty much the same thing as first year. You know, I just got a bit tired of just reading about the same old thing, the same old people, the same old theorists. It was just very dry, and I was just like, this is not life. But again, I said, you know what, Nissy, it's okay. You actually can do this. You can do this, and you're going to go into 3rd year and you are going to completely blackify your curriculum. That's what you're going to do in order to satisfy yourself. So yeah, second year was pretty good as well. You notice very quickly how much you improve. Please bear in mind, especially if you're someone that is looking at this kind of like to see whether they want to apply it or not, just bear in mind that when you do come to Cambridge, you work at a very fast pace. I would never lie to you, I would never sugarcoat it, I would never make it seem better than it is. It is a very fast pace. It can be very stressful. You are expected to give a certain standard of like work, etc. However, don't think that you will literally be dying on the line. Don't think that you have to kill yourself in this place. You will, I don't know, it depends on the college and the supervisors you have, but the supervisors that I've had, we thank God, they have been very understanding. You know, by the second half of second year and by 3rd year, when I kind of realized like, why am I killing myself? I cannot do everything. So when I would kind of say to them, I'm so sorry, I can't do an essay this week, can I hand it in a little bit later? They were very understanding, and they were like, no problem, but just make sure you prepare maybe notes, or you prepare this, or you prepare that. It was just me being smart and coming to a compromise with my supervisors. That's very, very important. Anyway, second year, same kind of thing, same kind of work ethic. We were working very, very hard. You get 8-week terms, but they literally cram so much in 8 weeks. So you just feel like you're constantly banging out work, banging out work, banging out work. And it feels like it's never ending. But then at the same time, we get really long holidays. We get like 5-6 week holidays, or 5, I think, yeah, it's between 5 and 6 weeks holidays, which are amazing. Then 3rd year came. Now 3rd year is absolutely amazing, because by 3rd year you basically get to make your curriculum what you want it to be, and 3rd year is when it counts. So we thank God that 1st year and 2nd year didn't count, because I've said it in numerous times in other videos. I got a 2-2 in 1st year, I got a 2-2 in 2nd year. I was very disappointed in myself, very, very upset. I personally believed that I had worked hard. Of course, you guys see that I do a lot of other things, but you guys maybe don't see it as much because I'm not always posting when I'm doing work, because that's boring. You know, that's boring, always putting up when I'm doing work, even though occasionally I do. But I work a lot. I just know that my time is precious. So I'm constantly, if I'm not doing educational work, I'm doing YouTube work. If I'm not doing YouTube work, I'm answering emails. If I'm not doing this, I'm doing that. So I'm always on the ball and I'm always going. So people think that I don't really do a lot of uni work, or oh my gosh, how the hell do you find time to do uni work? I just do. I make it work around my schedule. Yes, I am busy, but I want a good degree, therefore I make it work. Anywho, third year, great, because I finally get to do what I want. The only specific paper that you have to do, obviously, is the practical criticism paper. That's one that you have to do. Again, it's fine because you don't really know what's going to come up. It's not really specific to any region, area, whatever. The only other paper that you have to do as a third year is the tragedy paper. So that's Greek tragedy, Shakespearean tragedy, and you can also incorporate other versions of tragedy, of which I did. So when we were doing supervisions and stuff, I added in like African tragedies. I spoke about various different people, different African tragedy theorists, like from Wole Soyinka to all these other people. And I just made sure that I implemented the things that I wanted to learn about, because I was just like, this is about my education now. And I personally believe anyway that if everybody else is writing about so and so and so, and I come now and in my exam I'm throwing in different things, I feel like that's going to give me a bit of an edge. That's what just I personally believe. I don't really know, but that's what I personally believe anyway, because they would have been so used to seeing the same old things written over and over again. Whereas with me, I'm like, I don't want to write about the same old stuff. I want to bring in African tragedy. I want to bring in African plays. I want to bring in all these different various things. So, you know, that's what I decided to do. So practical criticism paper, tragedy paper, but yeah, I've still got a bit of an African black twist to it. Then I chose Post-Colonial as well, which I'm very, very happy about. Found it a bit difficult. Obviously, it's very fresh. Post-Colonial is a very difficult paper because I love the fact that I finally get to immerse myself in black authors, black texts, and that sort of thing. But it's very hard because obviously, naturally, you're talking about things like slavery. You're talking about some of the difficulties, oppression, some of the things essentially white people have done to black people, and it can make you very angry. I went for a phase, I can't even lie to you, a few months ago, where I was just very angry. I was angry at everyone. I was angry at the world because I felt like, you know, I was at uni. I'm going to explain my dissertation in a second, but essentially my dissertation was on black feminism. So naturally, I was talking about the oppression of the female, the black female voice, the oppression of and the policing of the black female body, all that kind of stuff. Then I was looking at post-colonial. So I'm going from, you know, having a supervision about that to going to a post-colonial class where I'm talking about the oppression of black people as a whole, the way we were mistreated, the way we were devalued, undervalued, degraded, the way we were treated in the most barbaric, disgusting manner ever. So I'm going from there. Then I'm doing another paper called Literature and Visual Culture, and there I decided to add a bit of sprinkle of black magic in there as well, like as in not black magic as in black magic, but as in like black people, black girl magic in there. And I decided to look at the way in which black people are represented in like film and that sort of thing. And again, a lot of it's quite negative. And then I just felt to myself like, I just felt so like angry at everything. I just felt like, why did this stuff happen to us? Why did we go through so much just because of the mere fact that we are black? Because of something that we didn't even choose. Like, we don't get to choose what color we come out. That's just something God gives. And so, yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I got to a point where I felt so bombarded by so much, and I felt extremely angry. But you know, I had a conversation with my dad about it, and my dad is amazing, and he really encouraged me and was just kind of, you know, talking me through, like he was basically just saying to me like, it's okay for you to feel how you feel, but you need to think of it in the long run. You need to think of it in a wider context, as in, i.e., you are doing so well. There's so many other black people, especially young black people, that are doing so well, and you guys are changing things for the better for us. You know, a lot of us had to suffer, but you guys are breaking those barriers, my dad was just basically just encouraging me, and it snapped me out of that very angry, bitter place. Because not even only that, but then coming to a place like Cambridge University that, you know, is pretty much, not even pretty much, is founded on the blood and bones of black people and of their ancestors and of slavery. And then you have people that have even come to this uni who probably owned slaves, who probably still even to this day look down on black people. It was just too much, guys. It was a lot. But after having that conversation with my dad, I kind of was just like, do you know what? It's okay. I can't go around being angry. This is something that happened, and yes, there is still racism. There is still so much more we can do, but I can't be so negative in that sense, because it will only drive me mad. It won't drive anyone else mad. It will just drive me mad. Instead, what am I going to do to change things? What am I going to do to better the world? All that kind of stuff. And it kind of brought me back to like Nissytee, and like, this is actually me. So yeah, so I've basically kind of, in a weird sort of inadvertent way, explained what I've done my third year basically. So practical criticism, tragedy, which included obviously Greek tragedy, Shakespearean tragedy, and a bit of African tragedy in there as well. Post-Colonial. In Post-Colonial, you basically end up doing regions. So you can choose 2 regions that you want to focus on. My 2 regions are South Africa, and the second one is, I really should know by this point. Clearly, I don't really have it together right now. But I'm considering whether or not I want to kind of talk about the Caribbean or East Africa. But I feel like because I'm doing South Africa, I do want to talk about the Caribbean and that sort of stuff. So that's what you basically do in that. You can also do things like Canada, you can do things like India, you can do things like various other places, you know, that are basically under the kind of colonial I don't even like the term post-colonial, because post-colonial does not exist. The effects of colonialism are still happening and still being felt to this day. So for me, post-colonial is so annoying to even say, but post-colonial, there's a lot of regions that you can do. Again, just make sure you do research to see what you can do. And then obviously literature and visual culture. Literature and visual culture is essentially a paper that is about anything. So there's 2 parts. There's part A and part B. Part A is what I'm basically going to be heavily focusing on, because you can choose which one you want to do 2 questions in. So you can do 2 questions in one area, 1 question in the other. I'm choosing to do part A, and part A is basically on anything. You could literally, I could sit here and talk about a camera. Camera is a perfect example, and basically just analyze and talk about how a camera works, how it functions in terms of viewing and literature and language and linguistics and that sort of thing. I could talk about my phone and technology. You can literally talk about anything, and I'm choosing to talk about black women, and I'm going to talk about how black people are essentially represented in media. And then the second part is classical Hollywood, and that bit is compulsory. So you basically look at Hollywood, but the classics. So like 42nd Street, His Girl Friday, these are all old, like some of them films like black and white, but I've really enjoyed it. I've loved it. It's been super interesting. And again, for the last couple of weeks or over like the term, I was looking at the way black people are represented in these old films, and finding that obviously most of them are like domestic figures and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's all a story for another day. And then I did a dissertation. So you don't have to do a dissertation. You can choose to do, I think, five exams. Yeah, I think you can either choose to do 5 exams, or you could choose to do 1 dissertation and 4 exams, or 2 dissertations and 3 exams. I chose to do 1 dissertation because I hate redrafting. I hate doing coursework. I have always hated it. I just find it so tedious and so annoying. I'd rather just go in an exam, sit it, do it, leave. I'd rather do that. And my dissertation, because I've handed it in now so I can tell you guys, but it was basically on black feminism and music lyrics, and whether or not music lyrics can actualize change, or contemporary music lyrics, sorry, can actualize change to improve the lives of black women. So I was focusing on Beyonce's Lemonade. I'm basically just talking about different songs from the album and how they basically promote kind of like positive image of blackness, and they are kind of like a proclamation and emulation of black identity, black culture, black heritage, and also talking about the diverse nature of black womanhood, because a lot of the time black women just get grouped into one box, and that's very frustrating and very annoying, whereas we're so unique and so diverse and so different. And yeah, I've realized that this video is extremely long. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna split this video into 2 parts. because I did want to give you guys a lot of detail in terms of my course, what I'm doing, English literature, because I've had so many questions about what English is like here, and of course I'm always here to help you guys. But yeah, that's basically the gist of the course as a whole. It was a very quick run through, but I hope a very quick but detailed run through. If you have any more questions, you can hit me up via email, or you can drop comments in the comment section. I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. And yeah, essentially that is it really. English, I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't have, part of me, I'm not gonna lie though, actually, let me not even lie, I've said like a lot that I wish I kind of did HSPS, which is Human, Social and Political Sciences, and it's like basically sociology and all that kind of stuff, all the ologies, and part of me wishes that I kind of did that. But now looking back, like I always knew that I wanted to do English at uni, and I don't regret anything, other than being, you know, a tad bit frustrated at times, which I think was completely normal and completely natural for myself as a black person, as a black woman, you know, coming to one of the best universities in the freaking world, hoping that the education will replicate that. But yeah, so other than that, I have loved my course. I can't lie, I thank Jesus because I've had great supervisors. Yes, I have heard some horror stories about supervisors from other colleges. I pray that it's not your portion. I'll see you guys again real soon. Stay beautiful.